Hey, Michelle here from the Soul Translator and from the Empowered Empath Soul Camp. And if we don't know each other yet, it's lovely to have you here watching this video on my YouTube channel or wherever you happen to be watching it. And I work with empaths and sensitive solo entrepreneurs who are bringing their gifts out into the world, if you're doing that in your life or in your business, as well as helping to empower empaths and sensitives to be their most wonderful self, because sensitivity is our superpower, is our greatest strength. So today in this video, I want to talk a little bit about discernment. Also, I took a couple weeks off from filming because I got chomped on by a spider, and this is actually doing a lot better than it was. So just try to ignore the red welt on my face. So let's talk about discernment. So discern not seeing that, and discern bringing your attention to what I want to share and talk about in this video, which is discernment. So the thing that I see more and more in my work and in life in general is that we're kind of coming out of this age of desensitization, that so many of us have been desensitized to the world around us, to nature, to each other. I was really thinking about this the other day when I saw the brilliant documentary on Mr. Rogers. And just a quick story here with that, where, his whole, way of being was really about slowing down and paying attention to what was right in front of you, and to really be with life and be with the person in front of you and be with the sensations around you of love and of connection, and really paying attention. Beautiful, beautiful, like I would say almost like divine discernment of just really pouring your energy and your attention onto what matters, and also really what's in front of you. And now, we have so many of us are walking around looking at these, tiny little screens that brings our senses, away from everything, out and around us, and down into these little, 3x4, however big your phone is or your iPad is, kind of realities. And I believe this desensitization, we're coming out of that age of the desensitization. Also, like desensitization around violence and around ignoring our body wisdoms and all of the mind-body health stuff that has been coming out over the years. We're all really wanting to reclaim our senses and our sense of connection, because senses is very intimate work. And it's a huge part of the work that I do with empaths and intuitives and sensitives, is to be able to reawaken your sense of sensitivity. Because believe it or not, empaths and sensitives shut down a lot. We shut down a lot of our sensitivities because they're so, prickly, because they're so raw sometimes, because they're so highly tuned. And when I say highly, I mean the sense of like on a spectrum. It's if, our senses sometimes are off the charts. Not only our senses in the sense of the five senses, but in the sense of the sixth and seventh and eighth senses. So we can tend to dampen down and numb out our sensitivity. And that is like, cutting off your nose to spite your face, because we have to have those sensitivities, because that is who we are. That's how we've been designed to be. And it's like being the amazing pianist or artist, and then not doing your craft, not doing your extra sensory strength and ability and your talent. So, and when I say talent, it is also something that is natural. It can be a natural gift and natural innate ability, but then also it can, like anything, be enhanced and used more and more as a skill, like a muscle that builds. And it's true that people can learn how to be empathetic. And the opposite is actually true I find, for a lot of empaths, where it's not that we need to learn how to be empathetic, we need to learn how to manage and be with the level of our empathy. So it's not about being less empathetic. It's about being able to be with it instead of it, really ruling and sometimes overruling our lives and our sensitivities. Like there are people who are deeply empathic, deep empaths, who are agoraphobic because they can't go outside because there's too much going on. And because they haven't learned the skills to be able to do the inner work to manage their sensitivities in the world. It's fine if you want to, be more reclusive. There's no dissing on that. Some of us just need to be that way in our lives. However, when it is something that's controlling you versus you being in relationship with it, like anything, like addiction, right? Like substances, like people, like toxic relationships, when you can be in the driver's seat, the empowered seat with that, then it makes all the difference. But let's talk again more about this discernment. And I do want to bring up a couple tips at the end here that can help. So discernment, there's so much I want to say on this, but what I really want to bring into this video, for simplicity's sake, is about our senses. Our senses are our first responders in life, shall we say. They are the things that give us the instant, minuscule second by minuscule second response to what's going on inside of us and around us. So, they on the unconscious level, they govern our autonomic nervous system. They give us information all the time. Our senses are constantly surveying everything around us and helping us survive. Internally, in the sense of our sense of connecting to others, we will feel something on a sensitive level before we will get the emotion of it. We will feel the frequency and the energy of it before we get any sort of emotional reaction or response. So this is why learning how to discern with your senses, which includes increasing your sensitivity, so that you can be more awake in your discerning centers. Two things here about the chakras. The chakra of the solar plexus is very much that place. I like to think of the chakra there being the masculine, the active, engaging, thy will or my will, where they come together. The sacral chakra is the feminine, more creative, more fluid, more receptive. It's also where we have a lot of our creativity and our feelings. That sacral can be like the emotional response. So often people will have, the feeling of, oh, I just had a gut sense of it, or we process a lot of emotions in our second and third chakras. And yeah, we do. It's process a lot in that will center, because when we feel powerless, we can have that clench up of our solar plexus chakra. And a way that we can tend to feel powerless is when we've turned off all of our senses and we're not discerning and trusting ourselves. So also with this, we have more neurotransmitters in our gut brain than we do in our brain. So that is also an information-packed center that is in relationship with life, and that is telling us, giving us clues, giving us sensations all the time. So what does this have to do with discernment? Everything, quite honestly, because so when we can fine-tune our five senses and then as well also become more aware of and engaged with our sixth and seventh and eighth senses, then we have more, shall we say, avenues or channels to be able to understand and know how we feel about something, how we feel about somebody, how we feel about a situation. And then we can have our, to build our discernment muscle and trust those responses that we have. This is the hugest piece that I've been working on so much in my work lately, and I'm writing about, is this trust is power. The trusting our discernment and using our senses to be able to discern is the most wonderful way that you can learn how to trust yourself, how I can learn how to trust myself and really be in right relationship with our sensual, sensitive self. When I say sensual, you can take that however you want, but of the senses. So here are a couple tricks. Spend some time doing some sensory meditation. So this can be with eating. Eat slowly. Enjoy the taste, the texture in your mouth. Look at the colors of the food. Smell them before you stuff the food into your mouth. Have a really, like you're turning your senses on, like the animal body, the animal sense of you, of being human. You're really turning on and up those senses. Feel what the different food tastes like. Have a variety of food, that a sweet and a sour and a savory, and do an eating meditation to really bring up to really heighten your sensitivities. Also listen to the sound of the food crunching. If food is not a meditation you want to do, you can always simply sit and be present when you are out at the park or somewhere where you can really watch the details, not only of trees blowing, but you can see the little points between the limbs, between the leaves, that is like the space between. You can pay attention to the texture of the bark. You can feel it. You can smell trees. They love it. Give them big hugs. They are beautiful, powerful beings, I absolutely believe. And especially if you're a nature empath or what I call a bioempath, just go out and just go replug your senses, recharge your senses out in nature. It's good for all of us. So those are some examples, and I'm putting together actually a course that's more about being able to heighten your sensitivities for this power of discernment. So when that's ready, I'll put the link down below in the comments. And then also the last thing is using certain stones. My favorite, one of the reasons why I wear this ring here, is it's chrysoprase. And chrysoprase is a beautiful crystal of discernment. It's incredibly grounding. It's this gorgeous bright green color. It's very heart-centered in the heart chakra. And it's really about discernment and aligning your energetic fields to be in sync and in synchronicity with what is right for you and what is not right for you. So chrysoprase is a wonderful crystal to help you with that. Okay, so I hope this video has been really useful for you. Please do heighten your senses in good, positive, mindful, and affirming ways. Let yourself tap into the sensual nature of what it means to be sensitive, to be human, to be here in this amazing playground of elements that we live in. And try as well, especially if you're an empath and sensitive, to turn off the fixation or the habits. Unplug, get away from the screens, get away from that small world. We really do want to step into our senses and our sensitivities in an empowered way, so that ultimately what they do, how they serve us, is to be in connection with ourselves, our own inner world, and to be in connection with others in a healthy, healing, loving, empowering kind of way. That's true intimacy, is to be in relationship in that way with yourself and with others. And our senses are an amazing way for us to feel alive and aligned with who we are, and to discern when things are good for us and when we need to move on and not be part of a certain frequency or energy that we are around. I want to tie this in just at the end here about the spider bite because spiders build these beautiful webs and spend all this time focusing on the detail, the senses of building this incredible web, their home. I mean, anytime you look at a spider web, it's like, oh my God, this is a miracle right here. It's amazing that these little creatures can do this. And then they'll wait for prey to come to them. And what I offer with you, and this is the medicine I've been doing with the spider bite, is to really weave a healthy, empowered web, whether it's through my thoughts, or through my actions, or through my discernment, or through my response to life, is that really I'm weaving the reality of my life. I'm weaving the realities of my day. I'm weaving the reality of my thoughts and my dreams, and to really use my senses, use my soul, use my connection with Source and with myself to the best of my ability and the best of my availability, because sometimes we just have days where, like, oh my God, it's just really, really challenging. I don't want to be high vibe today. I just want to sit on the couch and watch Netflix. But, you know, sometimes just really paying attention to what is the web that I am weaving with my thoughts and with my actions, and using your senses to tune in and weave a good feeling, sensitive, sensual, sensory web that responds to life in a really beautiful, empowered way. Alrighty, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take great care. Again, I'm Michelle from thesoultranslator.com and the Empowered Empath Soul Camp. See you next time.